And we're back for another fun-filled adventure of Pop Goes the Zebra. I am one of your hosts. I am Jeremy the Ref. With me, as always, is Jesse the Ref. Jesse, you feeling musically inclined today?
Yeah. I'm always down to talk music.
Oh, really? Well, what if we narrow this down a little bit? We're not just going to talk about music. We're going to talk about a specific type of music.
Okay. What do we got?
Well, we could go rock, we could go rap, we could go orchestral, or we could just throw it all in a blender, call it professional wrestling tunes.
Oh man, yes.
Yeah, you like where I'm going? You picking up what I'm putting down there, Chief?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about doing this one for a while. But do you remember what the caveat to that was?
I've slept since then.
Let me give you a little hintski, broski. Brewskis.
Oh, the brewskis. Oh, I'm not.
Brewskis.
I'm not. I don't
we
even.
have to do the Thanos snap and make it happen?
Oh, there may be a Thanos snap. I'm thinking. Hang
I'm
on.
thinking. Hold on.
I'm sitting here
it's
thinking.
Happening. Nope. I'm doing it. Hey, look at that. What are you drinking?
The good old Malibu coconut rum and vanilla Coke.
Similar. I got the Malibu Black and rum, or Coke. I mean, Loyola and Oregon State are playing as we're recording this. Go Sister Jeans. Anyways, today we are talking all about wrestling themes, our favorite themes, why we love them, and we're going to drink while we do it because we always said we're going to sit down, we're going to day drink, we're going to talk about this like a couple of fat slobs at a bar being obnoxiously too loud while everybody else is sitting around trying to have a nice meal. So, without further ado, let us commence the conversation. Jesse, give me a favorite.
Oh, so
I do want to caveat, I don't think we should do particularly in like any order or anything like that because it's always going to be subjective. Somebody's always going to, it's one of those things. It's like Mario Kart. It will end friendships,
Yeah. I also
throw them out there until we get sick of it.
We shouldn't just pigeonhole this to WWE, WCW, ECW. I think we should also throw in independent wrestling themes.
Sure, why not?
In the sense of like, some people pick some absolute bangers for entrance music, and I'm just like, I immediately want to be that person's friend when I hear it. But let's stick with like the main companies.
As best we can.
Yeah, so the other night I just had this random urge to start scrolling through YouTube looking for wrestling themes and coming across some that you haven't heard in a long time, and you hear it's like, oh my god, that's a really good song. Christian's original solo theme. It was like when he was still with Edge. No.
You're talking about the other one that was on volume 4.
Yeah, that one, the Blood Brother.
Yeah.
To me, I was like, that song was awesome. Like I remember when I got WWF Volume 4, going through those, I was like, oh, that's a cool song. And I heard Christians, and I'm like, whoa. Like it just starts off awesome, and then you get that awesome guitar riff like once it gets going. And it really shows the power of like Jim Johnson knowing.
I feel like we're gonna be talking about him a lot today. Let's just get that right off the bat. Jim Johnson is the greatest musical composer in wrestling of all time.
Like he understood that, the music really sets the character. So like he was a big proponent of like
exactly how he went about creating a theme.
Yeah,
he looked at the character and the dynamics of the character, and he tried to match it on an instrument.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think like all of these amazing themes are ones that just came out of that guy's brain. Now there are a few that are from that era that he didn't do that I'm a fan of, but most certainly, like I said, I love Christian's theme. I just thought it was so cool. Like I said, it had that awesome guitar riff once it got going. So yeah, that one got a lot of like, I'm gonna hit replay on that on the old CD player. What about you?
For me, probably I'm gonna just start with the one that really like caught my attention, and it's hard to say one because they're 1A, 1B for me, but and the problem is there's such huge stars that I feel like bad burning them this early. But Shawn Michaels' Sexy Boy and Bret Hart's touched up Heart Foundation theme that
Yeah.
would kind of be his 93 to 97 theme
Yep.
were probably the two that got it started for me. I loved the guitar in there. Just the, especially Bret's, going back and looking at it musically now, he said in his book that it sounded like a train engine just chugging along, and you look at the scoring of Bret's theme, and that low E string, the fat string on a 6-string guitar, it's just chug 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 chug, and you get a little run there on underneath it. But like, man, that theme and Sean's theme were probably what started it off for me. Like I said, I feel bad burning those so early because they're such iconic songs. But
I'm saving my top ones for a little while. I'm kind of getting like my undercard going here. I think you went for like top tier. Now,
I will. Like I said, I wasn't doing it in any order, but I feel like in order to kind of understand where I'm coming from in terms of musicality, it starts with guitar, and those two are very guitar driven.
Yeah, I think that just comes from you and I both being musicians. Like, we're both guitar players. I play bass, so like I kind of alternate between.
In fact,
what's a good bass driven song or a guitar driven song? Like 100% Bret Hart's. Like, you hear that opening riff, and you're just like, whoa. Yeah.
Where?
You're trying to remember. Drink till you remember it. That's the thing.
I haven't played it in so long. But yeah, an E chord, and it just chugs along, man, and it's a march. You can march.
But it's the thing, like the moment you hear it, like you're like, oh man, shit's about to get real. And there's been several instances where the Nashville Predators will play wrestling themes throughout like the game, and like they'll play certain
culture of their own. I know, you can say.
I know they do. Yeah, that's fair. But well, no, other hockey teams do it too.
I mean, know. I'm always gonna pick on the annoying little brother.
Yeah, but like you can really tell like the wrestling fans the moment like somebody like Bret Hart's music hits at the hockey game. I remember being at one game, and I think they played Bret Hart's theme, and I just stood up doing the fucking thing. Cassie's like, "What are you doing?" It's like the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
Allegedly.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, no, I'll give you full credit on both Shawn, because here's the thing with Shawn Michaels, he sung his own theme.
Not originally.
Well, it was Sherry that did it originally, but then he did his.
There it is.
Now, didn't Jimmy Hart had a lot to do with that one.
Oh, I'm sure. Funnily enough, Shawn Michaels' Sexy Boy is more or less Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. It's pretty much, once you get to the chorus, the same exact chord progression and play. It's funny.
Well, okay, so if you think about it, there are several songs that are rip-offs of modern day songs. Like Razor Ramon's theme is
a rip-off of Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme.
No, it's a rip-off of the Eagles' Those Shoes.
Mm.
You listen, it's the same thing.
I like my narrative better. He somehow time traveled into the future, saw Steve Austin, and came back and just took his theme.
Like, oh, that's a cool theme song.
It's the same.
Well, apparently Austin, when he was telling Jim Johnson what he kind of wanted, he mentioned Rage Against the Machine. So it was kind of like a rip-off of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
That's the story that
Which is
Austin
funny
tells.
because everybody says that Rage Against the Machine did DX's theme. You know, there's this Rage
But
Against the Machine? No.
it was
No,
the
it's
Chris
not.
Warren band.
Which, yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Which I think you and I both hold the DX theme in a high regard.
And I remember listening to Jim Johnston talking about that. Like, you think of DX and what they are, you think like punk and rock and roll. The song is funk. The basis for it is a funk riff. And it's just so funny. I look at DX, I don't think funk, you know.
No.
And yet that it's all funk oriented, and it's amazing. Just you know, out of left field, but it just captured that angst and just degenerative, just anti-establishment attitude that they were trying to portray, which thematically just blew the roof.
Yeah, and it, you have to really think about it. Like once you started hitting like 96, 97, 98, that's when wrestling themes really, like, those were the ones that really set the tone for what was going on. Like it was cool having an entrance theme, like, oh, here comes so and so to the ring, and you're like, yay. But now
and they'll play
like,
some canned music that somebody made
some
like
canned music
15 years ago.
But then
B-roll.
you start getting into the
Shout out to
attitude era.
WCW.
Yeah. You get into the attitude era and it's like, whoa.
Oh, dude. Attitude era, one that really sticks out in my head is Ken Shamrock's theme.
Yes.
Because I said it sounded like a nuclear meltdown at the power plant. When the piano just, it's very faint and underlining because you hear the guitar riff going, but there's a little piano, just a top hit. Ding, 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 ding. And I always said it sounded like a warning buzzer going off in the halls of a power plant because you're about to have like this meltdown, which fit Ken Shamrock's character because he would snap. He was approaching that boiling point, and it just, for me, like the play in my head, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah. No, Shamrock, some of those guys, like I think Shamrock, Blackman
had an underrated banger.
Oh, he did.
I loved it.
I saw somebody the other day talking about Dan Severn's music from about that time. It was the same thing. Like, it's not what you would expect, but it sets the tone for like, oh, shit's about to get real.
He's about to go down.
So that's kind of my thing with theme music is,
it's important.
Yeah, it really is. Like, and like today, like I've heard some, some of the WWE product, I'm like, some of these themes just don't seem to fit the people. They don't fit the characters. And
I was talking to somebody this morning on headset before I talked to you, and we were talking about like stars and things like that. And I'll pick one of the biggest stars there is and tell you, I don't think his music does him justice. Brock Lesnar. I don't think that Brock Lesnar's music necessarily fits him as well as music could fit him. I think that there's a whole nother level that could, but because he's so big that they don't need to bother. Like, you already know that's his song. We're not going to mess with it.
Yeah, it fit him for 2003, 2004 in that time frame. But I mean, to be perfectly honest, when I think of Brock Lesnar making his entrance, I hear the music that he has,
like the drums work, that heavy impact, bum, bum, bum. Yeah,
like, and you just see him standing on the stage doing his little warm up, and it's like, to me, that just, it works. It kind of fits.
I think that there's another gear that could be hit with that. I think it could be bigger because he is true. He's monstrous big. He's larger than life, and
I mean, he's the kind of person that if he wanted a copyrighted song from an artist,
he'd use Enter Sandman like he did in UFC.
Yeah, 100%.
It was like an undertone compared to what you're used to seeing from his time in WWE, but it was the right kind of direction to go. It was much bigger thematically than I think his Here Comes the Pain theme was.
Yeah, and like I said, it's good to have the contrast between like what he used in UFC and what he used in WWE, But like I said, if he wanted to have,
He'd have it.
he could have it. Either he would pay for it or Vince would pay for it. Just one of those things. Well, it's like CM Punk getting Cult of Personality.
Which
To me,
my hand just started cramping just thinking about that, because that's just one that gives
that
me,
riff.
that gives me some problems.
I tried to learn that riff many years ago, and I said, you know what? I was like, I'll stick with my chord progression. I don't want to.
Yeah,
that's a lot of stuff. I don't.
That's more effort than my hand is willing to do at any given moment.
That's me trying to learn certain solos from Queen. It's like, maybe I should just play the chords. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and talk about that. CM Punk.
It fit his character at the time where he was making a character change, obviously.
Yeah, and
I never really liked the Kill Switch Engage theme. I know they passed it around to a couple of different people.
Yeah, and
it just never really fit anybody.
Well, it's like with his Ring of Honor, he had AFI for a while. I think towards the latter end of him being in Ring of Honor, he had AFI's. Was it Misery Conte?
I couldn't. It's been a while.
Yeah, but he did use Cult of Personality when he was doing the IWA stuff, and I think the early Ring of Honor. So, him coming, I think the night that he came out to Cult of Personality for the first time, I remember watching with some friends, and I was like, "Whoa, that must have cost them
I love that that channel that just like
that channel change."
What's up, Harley?
Yo, little cameo
Fuzzy
there.
Face. Hello. Who, me? What did I do? I'm constantly guilty, but I do nothing wrong, but I constantly look guilty.
Yeah, so because it was the summer of Punk when he was doing the stuff with Cena, and they were having those absolute banger matches.
Dude, that match they had at the Rosemont Horizon, because I refuse to call it the other thing because it will always be the Rosemont Horizon to me, was and is still one of the best matches of the last 15 years, hands down.
Agreed. That because I think a lot of people are probably looking at that as it's a John Cena match. It's not going to be that good. It's like, no.
That felt like Van Dam versus Cena at the ECW pay-per-view that they pulled out, where he was decidedly the road team, as I like to put it. There are some people that are baby faces, and then they go into an environment like a Philadelphia, like a Chicago, etc. And it doesn't matter how much goodwill they have built up. If they're going against that right opponent, I'll look at them and I'll just go, "Sorry, Chief. I think you done be the road team tonight."
Pretty much.
Yeah. I hope you are flexible.
So again, I want to get back to like how like amazing hearing a theme is. The best example is the Royal Rumble. Like, you don't know the order.
But you know the music.
But you know the music, and you get super stoked when you hear a theme song you haven't heard in a long time. Like, let's
use a recent example. Number 21 in the Royal Rumble hits, and You Think You Know Me hits the speakers.
Mylanta, dude.
I knew it was coming. And
here's the thing, I had a feeling like somewhere in there's like the Edge has got to do this thing. And here's the great thing: when I watch wrestling pay-per-views with my friends, they love seeing me react to stuff because they know, like, I know a lot of what's going on, and it's hard to get me to like, And it was one of those, like, I was sitting there and heard it, and I was just like, well, I was like speechless. I got chills. I have chills again because to me,
there are just some moments that transcend.
That might be one of the top wrestling pops of all time, in my opinion. Like, I'm talking Austin pop.
The Austin pop from the night he came out and helped Foley win the title is the greatest pop in the history of televised pops.
I want to say Edge's return might just be
Edge's is the best sense, but I don't think it tops Austin.
I don't think it tops it, but I think
it's worthy of mention. It is worthy of mention in the conversation.
Helping Mankind is like number one. Edge's return, and then shocker, Hardy Boys returning at WrestleMania. That popped.
Which again, everybody knew it was happening, and they
No,
were
I
still
didn't.
shocked. Oh, come on.
See, no, I didn't.
Come on.
Shoot, did not. I did not
AEW
know.
didn't exist. Ring of Honor couldn't afford them, and they were out of TNA. Where else were they going to go?
Well, I loved the whole thing was like people saw them going to the airport and like going into the airport, leaving. So like they had this whole thing like, no, we're gone, we're heading out. And they snuck them back in like last minute. And it's like, it's so good. But yeah, I hold that as like one of the, again,
Still,
one of those moments where I kind of went, whoa, I'm back to being a fan again. This is
that entrance for me. There will always be a moment in that. Go back and watch it. It's after he first pops out of the dugout and he runs both ends and pops the crowd, and they cut to a long shot of the rampway, and he walks through the steam, and he just has this look on his face. I described it to a friend that was there. I said it was like a man waking up from a nightmare and realizing it was all just a dream. And for a second, we weren't seeing Edge. We were seeing the guy who betrays Edge.
Dude,
and then he does that Edge face, and he goes down for God Pyro, and he was back to Edge. But for that brief moment, you weren't seeing Edge.
The look on his face, he was crying. And it, dude,
Not many people get a chance at redemption and a second chance to right a wrong.
I didn't explain any context to Cassie, and I showed her the video of that entrance, and she goes, "Oh my God, that gave me chills." Non-wrestling fan reacted to that, seeing that of just, and again, it's, you hear that music.
Which Edge has had some bangers in his day. I never really liked the originally "You Think You Know Me" theme. I loved his Rob Zombie theme.
The Rob Zombie theme was killer.
Because I felt it had more, it matched more the energy that he brought to it. I felt that first solo singles run theme he had, well, the Edge and Christian theme, I'll call it, just it was kind of mellow. For what Edge brought to the table. Like, it worked, but I felt like what would eventually become the Alter Bridge theme, Metalingus, the Rob Zombie song was more in the direction of what I felt when I saw Edge.
Yeah, and like I said, the original "You Think You Know Me" was good for Edge and Christian. I thought as a tag team theme, it was a great thing. But once Edge was on his own, he had to have something different.
Identity. And he clearly screamed rock and roll.
He did. And
clearly,
the Rob Zombie theme was awesome. But I think
I love that little run there.
I just think they hit money with the Alter Bridge.
And that was what he picked. He's friends with Mark Tremonti, and he was sitting with them, and Tremonti showed him the demo or the early cut of the first album. He's like, "Can I use that?" And Metalingus became his theme, and it works. He's a rock god.
Yeah, it's man,
bombastic.
again, that's my thing. It's a song that I have on my phone. I've got the actual.
Oh, it's on my workout mix. It is there.
And it's like the moment it comes up, I just like, nope, I gotta listen to that, because it just, to me, A, it's a great wrestling theme, and B, it's just a great song in general.
Yeah, listen to the words of that song, and then we keep circling back to that return. Listen,
it's very poignant with the return
to that song.
To chase a dream again.
I've been defeated and brought down. Dropped to my knees when hope had run out. You know, if anybody epitomized what that verse meant, it's Edge. And and again, the theme, the tone, the lyrics have to matter. And in this case, Edge had the perfect song. Now he's turned heel as of recent, but you know, a lot of his run with that song, he was a heel anyway. But that song is big. The themes and the dynamics of it are huge. but it's not too, it's also not too much at the same time. There are some songs where it's just too much noise and production,
Okay.
and it just kind of kills the character, what they're trying to get, like they're doing too much.
Okay. Let's talk about theme songs that have lyrics that just make no sense.
You kind of threw me a curveball there. I'm not ready to field that question. Can we circle back to that? Because I honestly, I wasn't really prepared to kind of go to the negative side of things. Not that, we're trying to be negative, but in this context, you kind of do have to pick on somebody. So give me a minute. Let's circle back to that in a little bit. Let me think on that.
Yeah, I'll let you stew because I've got a couple, and it's not a detriment to the character. It's just if you listen to the lyrics.
Actually, I got one, and I might get some heat for this, but I didn't like Chris Jericho's theme.
Which version? Just all around?
His normal default break the walls down theme.
Yeah.
I wasn't
I didn't like the original. I didn't like the original. I like the later versions, like the 01, 02 kind of version of it, where they changed like kind of some of the lyrics around. But yeah, it's one of those things where there's like nonsensical lyrics, like lyrics put in it just for the sake of having it.
And I guess you could say they were trying to kind of do his Ayatollah rock and roll thing, but no, he was the Millennium Man. They had the countdown. It doesn't really fit, but it does. I just, again, I don't know. Like, it worked for him. So obviously in the grand scheme of things, I'm clearly wrong. But for my money, if it, I don't really still fully buy into it, I guess is the best way to put it.
I still like, I do like Jericho's theme. And like I said, all of these
like
are great.
His Judas theme in the other company, but it much better. But like, not, and especially now that he's a babyface, I didn't really fully buy into the crowd singing a heel's theme to the ring. But
when you're a heel, you should not be doing cool things.
You're a heel. You're not supposed to be liked, and he's clearly a babyface when they're singing him to the ring.
Yeah.
On more than just his cruise. But I'm not, again, Judas is a great song.
It is an absolute banger.
Yeah.
No, so some of the themes that I was talking about, like if you take the time to listen to the theme and you listen to the lyrics, you're kind of like, that didn't make any sense. Billy Gunn's Ass Man.
He's in the ass, bro. He loves everything about ass.
He likes to lick them. He likes to stick them. He likes to kick them. It's like,
yeah, he loves everything about asses, positive and negative.
I mean, I love the song, but it's just nonsensical. It's the same thing with Big Show. Like the theme song is awesome, but you listen to the lyrics, it's kind of like they don't make any sense. Like you're just saying
a
words.
Lot of music to play devil's advocate. Music kind of is subjective and is a lot of times meant to be metaphorical, and you draw your own conclusions. You're allowed a little bit of creative license. Big Show, it's just big and bombastic. Like, I get it. I understand exactly what you mean. I don't think it necessarily kills the character, but like
and that's what I said. Like these,
it's bailed out. It's bailed out by that just kind of marching bump, bump. It's
and that's
big,
what I mean. It's not
just like
these are not. It's not a detriment to the character. It's just like if you actually sit and listen to the lyrics, you're kind of like, it's a little weird.
Yeah, what does this have to do with wrestling and winning and beating people? Yeah,
it's just one of those things. But
I will tell you what. I will be in the probably the minority here, but I loved X-Pac's theme.
Which was just it was a rehash.
It was a rehash of the WrestleMania version.
The Mike Tyson version, yeah. Which was cool.
It fit him because it was different. It was easily discernible from the traditional DX theme, but at the same time, it didn't venture. It was its own thing without venturing away from the DX theme. But I feel like I know where you're going with this. I will let you set the table though.
Since you're talking about X-Pac, I want to talk about
I hated Uncle Cracker.
The faction itself was kind of meh. But
everything about it was meh. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it.
You know where I'm going with this. I liked X Factor's theme.
I did not.
So they had the WWE production version, which was used in the video games and whatnot, which I thought was really cool. But the use of Uncle Cracker, I thought was kind of cool. I liked it.
It works because you're always trying to get extra looks in. So throwing out Uncle Cracker was a lot bigger than he is now at that point. So using mainstream,
this was 2001, 100%, like the rap rock.
Yeah,
genre
using
was
a
like
mainstream
at that time
act like that made perfect sense. I hated X Factor. That's
why I said the team itself was kind of meh, but I loved the entrance theme. I liked
I liked all three of them individually.
Just
I did
not
not like
team.
the grouping. I didn't like the presentation. I loved the King's Run DMC version of the DX theme.
I have that on my phone.
It's depending on what day you catch me, I may love it more than the traditional DX theme.
You know what? I can agree with that.
It's a bit more intense.
Well, it's Run DMC, so you cannot go wrong with the OG Kings of Rock.
Yeah, and hey kids, with your mumble rappers and your everything computer generated, let me show you how rap used to get down.
It's like you hear anything Run DMC and you're like, oh man, this is awesome.
Come, child, sit under the tree of knowledge and learn. Here's how it's supposed to go. Speaking of rap, I suppose we should probably, and you said rock and rap, we should probably touch on the Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit inputs into this conversation with American Badass and of course
here's where I'm gonna get heat from people. My favorite version, my favorite version of the Undertaker was American Badass Taker.
I liked ooh.
That's where the heat comes.
Ooh.
The Kid Rock one was cool, but to me, when they were doing the Brothers of Destruction, you had Kane come out with his music, pyro, and then it goes right into Rollin'. I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah, in timing, in terms of musicality, timing wise, Rollin' fits a lot better than American Badass because they're two entirely separate timings.
Yeah.
It just fit better to roll that in there. No pun intended, but you're right. But overall, I never truly got into Biker Taker as much as obviously OG Taker. That's not to say I didn't accept it at first, but about year two, I was ready to go back. It was a nice little side piece just to kind of, try something new and get some character development. But obviously, I am always going to prefer the bell toll and the funeral dirge. Now that being said, I do want to touch on that even real quick. I actually liked the Dark Side theme, not the one where he's speaking in tongues, but the one just before that, where it was no longer the Chopin.
But it was kind of like the hard rock.
It was hard, but it fit.
Are we talking like 98 King of the Ring version? Yes, that one.
And then he would go back and re-record like he's speaking in tongues for the Ministry of Darkness. But no, the naked theme of that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Again, a Jim Johnson
creation.
That guy understood. How to make
a character three-dimensional. So
I do want to kind of circle back to a 2001 theme that was only used for like a brief little time, and it was Billy Gunn's The One theme. I've Got It All. Dude,
everything you wish you.
I love that song.
Give it all to me. It was good.
Yep, dude. I love that one. I thought that was a really.
There are some forgotten bangers from that time. Billy Kidman had a good theme from back then too.
Was it the rap version?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I remember they released that on.
the anthology album.
No, it wasn't
Or
anthology. It was.
no, it was five.
I can see the cover of it. It's the one that had that they finally released Evolution's theme on.
I want to say it was five because there was four. There
No,
was Ruthless Aggression, and then there
five.
was
Volume 5 was the one that came out in 2001. That had Billy Gunn, Lita, Taz, Kurt Angle, Triple H's Motorhead theme,
then it would
K
have to
Quick,
either six or seven.
6. It would have been 6, I think.
Yeah, which we'll talk
Thematic.
about Motorhead in a
I
little
think it was
bit.
thematic. I think it was thematic. That was the name of the album. It was like 03, 04.
But yeah,
Yeah, so like I said, that Billy Gunn theme from 01 was awesome to me. But
I
if
think
if
of that era though with Billy Gunn. I fondly think of Billy and Chuck. The you look so good to me. And they were clearly just hosing on the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC at that time.
But
boy bands,
again,
but it was awesome.
Again, certified banger.
Oh, great banger. Great banger.
I was kind of tickled when it was released on Anthology because I was like, oh man, it was
yeah, that needed to be a ringtone in and of itself.
I know Nick Iggy from the Carnies would 100% back me on that, saying that is an absolute banger of a theme.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. When Bennett and Canellis were there, the love theme that they had, that thing was great too. The gimmick never took off, but that was another great song.
It's just like sometimes you get lucky.
The greatest.
But I want to circle back into like that 2000 2001 era. I'd be remiss if I don't talk about my favorite tag team, the Dudley Boys. Every version of their theme song has always been a favorite of mine, but the very first one they had when they debuted in the tie-dye, which Spike ended up using, is a theme called, I think it's called Ollie Stalefish, and it was done by Kent Buchanan. So it wasn't a Jim Johnson song. But that is my favorite, like that's my top 3 wrestling themes of all time.
Of theirs, I like the other version.
We're Coming Down.
We're coming down.
That's the one that they use
like
the
family
most.
In here. We're a little disabled, putting it down. We'll lay the whole
I did like
house. The brothers in the house. Yeah,
I liked the Saliva version.
Saliva I did. Version of that?
Yeah, it was on.
Or did they do? Oh, you know what? I'm getting crossed up because I'm thinking of King of My World for Jericho. They did do. Yep. You're right. They did do more than just
because the thing was WrestleMania 18. You get a performance from Saliva and Drowning Pool playing like the 2 themes of the pay-per-view, and then you have Saliva play the Dudley Boys out, and then you have Drowning Pool play Triple H out. Yeah. So like it was in that time. Play the game. Dude. Forcible Entry, when that one came out. Yeah, when that one came out, I begged my mom to take me down to Walmart to get it because I wanted to have it, and
that album was pretty solid from top to bottom.
100%. You had Chris Benoit's Our Lady Peace theme on that one. You had Disturbed with Steve Austin.
Whatever you want, you got, I'll bring back again.
Stacy Keibler's Kid
Rock Legs, which she used for the duration of her time in WWE.
Yeah, it was a great song for her,
and it fit. She's got
Lita's song, Love, Fury, Passion, Energy,
Love, Passion, Anger.
Yeah, whatever it was called.
Yeah, Lita is one that I never truly again felt like she'd ever found her true like theme song.
You know what? I think
she found something she used, but I didn't think she found something that worked for her.
I think the one from Forcible Entry worked for her. I think that one kind of worked because it's what she used from then on. I remember Raven's theme was on that one. They did a version of Raven's theme. Cypress Hill, the
Did the
version of
Taz
Taz's
theme.
theme, that one was awesome.
Yeah, so you want to be a thug superstar, live hard.
Just another victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that one. Taz's music, just all around. Taz,
Dude, OG Taz theme is always going to be great. That Titantron made absolutely no sense. He's just walking out of himself, just walking left and right.
But Taz's theme song, slowed down a little bit, is Roman Reigns' theme music. Just recycle it. I mean, that again, we're going to come back to that thing where you can recycle a theme song. Like,
speaking of, you know what? A perfect case in point, Kurt Angle.
He's got the words right out of my mouth.
It was got a song that was meant for the Patriot, but it sounds like something you would hear at the Olympic Games.
And Sergeant Slaughter used it, I think, twice. But then they gave it to Kurt Angle. And that's all you think of now is Kurt Angle. Anytime I hear Kurt Angle's music, I get kind of hyped up, and then get to the little part where you can start chanting "You suck," and I will start doing it.
And I looked that man in the eye, and any desire I had to chant along "You suck" died the second I looked that man in the eye, because he terrified me. Like, Kurt Angle. That's a bad man right there.
He's in that term, or he's in that realm of unfuckwithable.
I see LeBron James is out with a sprained ankle. Kurt Angle won an Olympic gold medal in freestyle wrestling with a broken freaking neck. You are not the same.
But like, to this day, like I will hear Kurt Angle's theme song, and I just picture him dancing out on the stage, doing the pose with the pyro and
Pyro.
God Pyro, yes. And I say that because yesterday I was watching, or night before last, I was watching King of the Ring 2001, where Kurt wrestles like 3 times.
And he's a fucking gangster.
And he's just an absolute beast. And he works 3 of probably the best matches he's ever done. That opening match is him and Christian.
Don't thumb your nose at that, even at that point where Christian was a mid-level at best.
Bullshit. That match was so good. Looking at how they had the match laid out and the story that they told, and the finish, getting how they got to the finish was incredible. And it was Christian standing on the outside and Kurt grabbing him from the outside and hitting the angle slam, getting into the ring. I just thought it was like,
because that's his finish.
Masterfully done. But I just, like I said, I feel like in that realm of like 99 through 2002, we had like some of the best entrance themes.
I want to talk about, I think it's a good point to talk about guys that have had more than one entrance theme, though, because you're talking about recycled themes. That implies that somebody has had a theme or 2 handed to them. We talked earlier about CM Punk, and he had the Burn Inside, Kill Switch Engage theme, and I buried my lead there. Randy Orton also had some time with that song too, early on.
2 or 3 episodes, and then he was like,
and then he got the Mercy Drive, Burning My Light, which was great for him at that time. He was the captain of the football team, pretty boy, blue chip athlete, up and comer, etc., and that song just exuded that. The arrival of young potential, and it was so good. You know, everybody remembers the Christian sparks, the pyro, I call it, and he's just standing there with the waterfall,
the golden shower.
But that happened, and then he made that switch to the Viper, and that is where we have to start talking about themes mattering to someone's character.
Yes.
Because the second I remember, it was a Monday Night Raw. It was the first time I heard it. And that hit. And I went, who's that? And I started listening. and out he comes, and I said, oh, this is much better. It vamped. It was brooding. It was calculated. It was concealed. It was coiled, just like a snake would attack. It wasn't in your face. It was sudden, just like a snake would bite. And it's, oh God, that is it. And and Voices by Red Theory is one of the greatest wrestling themes of all time.
What I like about it is the lighting effect, that whenever the guitar hits, the lights will flash, burn, and seeing it live is just it
oh
works.
Yeah,
it just works. And yeah, it's one of those, like, I could not picture anybody else with that theme song now.
No, it does not fit anybody else on this planet ever but Randy Orton. And I said, Snake, you could put that on Stone Cold Steve Austin even without his theme. It wouldn't fit him because you're talking two entirely different versions of that character.
Okay.
They're both serpent-like,
now,
but entirely different animals.
I've been holding off about talking about Steve Austin because there have been several incarnations of his. There's only one version, but but if you listen to like the early versions where it's a little bit more
subdued
and compressed, it's still pretty awesome. I think when we're talking like 97 into like 98, when he started getting that, it starts picking up. I just really think the best version that he had was the WrestleMania 13 with Bret Hart. Yeah, just it's so basic, but him coming at that giant pane of glass in the entranceway,
the glass shattering is
boom, glass shatters.
Yeah,
and
that's where it takes off. And with Steve's theme, it was antagonistic, it was bombastic, it was unrelenting. It's like, yeah, I just did that to you, and there's nothing you can do to stop me from doing it again, and I'm going to do it again to you over and over and over again, just in your face, just like Steve was.
And that's why I said the early incarnations of the theme were really good, but it wasn't until we got that glass shatters, the right one from 98 until the end of 99, till he went out.
Yeah,
I think that was the best theme. And then he comes back to Disturbed, which
let's not talk.
I liked
that.
it.
I like David Draymond. I love Sound of Silence. Stay away from Steve Austin's theme. I get that they needed to put somebody with him, but there's a reason why when glass shatters, you don't get the Disturbed version anymore, and it's not just because of licensing. Let's just be real here.
But then we unfortunately got to talk about when they did the Alliance angle, they changed his theme song at least.
Well, they had to there because
they
had to change up the display a little bit, because if you just we were talking about Jericho, if the crowd is because the first thing about Steve Austin that you get is the theme. Everybody knows the theme, everybody loves the theme, they apply it to that particular character. But when he's trying to be a heel, it's kind of like when Shinsuke changed up his music and threw in some rap on there that American audiences would not understand. Same principle. You have to take away reasons for the crowd to like you.
Yes. And I mean, it worked. You still had the glass shatter at the beginning. You had to you always had to have that with Steve.
There's still that baseline. Even with the Undertaker, he still had the gong. Even when he was the American Badass, he wasn't doing the dead man gimmick, but he had the dead man gong.
There's still that little bit of signature. But I will admit there were two versions, and I think the one I like the most, I don't think was ever really used with Steve live. It was a version that was used in WWF SmackDown, Just Bring It, and it was the slow, like, I think it was the Power Trip theme, and it was like a slow brooding build, and I like that one better than the really sped up one that they used with the Alliance angle. It was like like, that was cool, but I I like the slower build one because it seemed like a more it was a more psychotic sounding theme, like a neurotic Steve
Yeah.
Austin,
And
very
at that
slow
point, that's
build.
kind of what he was doing because, Jim Rossi would put it, something has gone terribly wrong inside of Steve Austin's head.
Yeah.
Because he's hugging Vince and he's got this far off look in his face.
The
It
1,000-yard
fit
stare.
it fit the psychology of the character to have that. He wasn't the BMF Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because as we know, behind the scenes, he couldn't be that guy because of injury. He had to make his character even more cerebral. If you go back and you watch Austin from 96 to 2003, with the breaking of his neck, from that point on, his character became so much more cerebral in the presentation and how he had to do it. It was doing more with less on the table. And it was brilliant. He couldn't be the grappler that he was going into that match with Owen Hart anymore. He had to be more of a brawling style. He had to protect his neck, so he had to start using this a lot more.
Yeah, and like I said, the theme that I liked, like I said, was used in a video game, and I think that's where I liked it because it was like when you played against the Power Trip, Triple H and Steve Austin, the music that they came out to was the slow building theme, and I like that one, and I felt like looking back on it, I wish they had used that with Steve Austin on television instead of the version that they used, but I get why they did it.
Oh yeah.
But
I'll tell you,
like all of Steve Austin's themes, like to me, hearing the glass shatter, that's
on.
To me
is
that
on.
is
Go
baseball,
back and watch that Mankind
teams,
match.
hockey teams, football teams, they will all play Steve Austin's music at some point, and even non-wrestling fans will hear it and be like,
we don't play it up here in Chicago. We don't need gimmicks like that. We're championship city.
Easy there, Chris Candido. No gimmicks needed.
Speaking of no gimmicks needed, all you really needed to hear was, oh, you didn't know?
Yeah. Man.
Your ass better call somebody.
I was very fortunate to be on an independent show that had the New Age Outlaws. And I got to I was standing by the curtain when they did the intro. And I was just like, oh, this takes me back. Yeah, love it. Unfortunately, as we're recording this today, somebody had said that Road Dogg had a heart attack today.
What's news to me? All of the best in prayers, love, and support.
He's apparently doing well, but he did suffer a heart attack today, which is Saturday the 27th.
Oh man, we are thinking about Road Dogg today. Thoughts and prayers are going out to his family. Yeah, I have always enjoyed the Road Dogg.
Every interaction I've had with him, he has been like the coolest. The same show, he was going around with a video, like an old school video camera, filming everybody. And he got to me and he goes, "Oh, Jesse over here, he is Rudy Charles 20 years after the steroids." And then just ripping on me, and just
this Drew Carey looking son of a bitch right here.
Yeah. Which I do have a version of that shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. Referee Jesse Fields, go check it out.
Plug your shit, brother.
Plug my shit. Yeah, brother, got to get my shit in.
Get your shit in.
Road Dogg, the last time I got to interact with him, we were doing a thing a couple years ago where he had Bullet Bob Armstrong there, and getting to kind of talk to Bullet Bob was awesome. But again, getting to sit and talk with Road Dogg and pick that guy's brain, just such a amazing mind for the business. And he was like, the character of Road Dogg was so cool when he was coming out doing that. Oh,
he's doing that rap. And every night it was something different. He's talking to the crowd. He's not doing a routine. He's just spitting game, man. And it's awesome.
So I want to transition with that one. The brief tag team that he had with K Quick, where they came out singing Rowdy together.
Rowdy K Quick, get rowdy. Gonna do some things. Getting rowdy. Yeah.
That song was awesome. And then of course you move all of them over to TNA where they do the 3 Live crew, and it's
Three
the
Live
same thing
Crew.
where they're coming out doing the rapping and just you throw Conan into that mix. Dude, TNA.
Conan, real quickly, can I just say Conan is one of the coolest cats I've ever met. I've had the fortune of working with him a few times at MLW, putting together a promo with him.
Dude
and
has a
cool
brain.
other side of the pillow, brother.
Dude has a brain for the business. Conan is one of those guys that if he's not doing something on TV, I feel like he is an asset behind the scenes, just like putting
MLW,
stuff
he's
together.
big there. A lot of
I
what you
want to
see
work
on
with him.
television, a lot
He's
of what
on
you
my
see on
list.
your MLW shows per week, I can tell you from experience, 90% of that is going through Conan.
Okay. Oh, so let's do a quick little pivot off of WWF for a second. Let's talk about TNA. TNA had some absolutely awesome theme songs in the early days. AJ Styles' original I Am, I thought was amazing.
Which we saw a little reprise of that the other night on Raw.
Yeah.
That was great.
I hate to say it, I love Jeff Jarrett's theme song.
Well, he's the owner of the company. He better have the coolest theme in the group,
He had one of the coolest theme songs. America's Most Wanted had a great theme song.
Sorry about your damn look. Oh my God. I remember vividly them driving out on the freaking motorized beer cooler scooters. That popped me to
Beer Money?
end. Beer Money, dude. Beer Money was my jam in TNA.
I will also back you up on that. Beer Money was fantastic. I thought James Storm, Bobby Roode, great theme song, great chemistry, great everything. They were great across the board.
Christian had a good one over there too.
He did.
It was kind of touching on his if you close your eyes, just close your eyes theme, which in and of itself, I loved the waterproof blonde version of it. Because here's why. He was the only person on television, and this is going to sound sexist, but I swear to God it's not. He was the only male on television coming out to a theme that was sung by a woman. Nobody else would have dared to do that, but Christian had no problem doing it, and it was a banger.
Yes, I to this day again will if I hear that one, I'm like, I'm gonna listen to it. It's a great song.
If you close your eyes, your light, the naked truth reveal. Dreams you've never dreamed, and scars never heal.
This has definitely turned into drunk
will
karaoke.
Take you to the other side. You'll find me waiting there. You'll see if you just close your eyes. Oh, such a great song. And you know what? That's the worst part about Christian going to AEW is you're not going to get that song, which I felt was the one for him.
I agree.
Song.
And see, my thing is like I stopped caring about TNA about 2007.
For me, it was the night Hulk Hogan came out on January 4th, 2010, because it was also the night that Bret Hart came back. That was the beginning of the downfall of Impact. TNA. TNA died then, and they would not be back to what they were until about 2017 when things, when Sinclair kind of shook everything up. Now they're fine. Like, go watch them. They're doing some good stuff, man. If AEW and WWE isn't your thing, go give to be Impact honest, a look.
We have friends in all three of the major companies, and they're all doing amazing things. But Impact does not get enough
notoriety for what they're doing right now. They've been putting on a great product for years.
But I will, and I have to say, early TNA, we're talking like 03, 04. I loved the Team Canada theme.
Yeah.
Because it was Bobby Roode, Eric Young, Petey Williams, A1, Scott D'Amore. I just thought Team Canada's the hard rock version of Oh Canada was awesome.
Oh Canada, our home and native land. Can I just sidebar and say, That is what a national anthem should sound like. Listen to "Oh Canada." That is great. I love the Star Spangled Banner. I wish we had America the Beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
As our national anthem. And believe it or not, that's actually getting some traction. Like, but I'll push that aside because I am a little buzzed now. I don't want to say something I'll regret later, but I love "Oh Canada." I think that is what a nation's national anthem should strive to be.
Yeah. But like I said, I love the Team Canada theme. Like I said, TNA in like the 2003, 2005 era, they had pretty killer theme
Solid themes.
Unfortunately, when the Dudley Boys came in, they had a rip-off of Powerman 5000's Bombshell. I didn't like it. Watch out for the bomb fall.
Bombshell, get up.
Yeah, I like the Powerman 5000 version, but I did not like the rip-off version with TNA. So did you have any experience with the WCW themes from back in the day?
I will say this. The only ones that I ever felt like they ever truly tried on was the NWO themes. Yes. I felt obviously that the mashup of Jimi Hendrix's best licks for the NWO Black and White will always be one of the most famous songs in all of wrestling history. I have a soft place in my heart for the NWO Wolfpack theme. I loved that theme.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. WCW really had some terrible themes, like the theme for American Males.
It was all just canned stuff that Turner had in their vault. They didn't try it all.
He's a man called Sting.
Sting, Crow Sting.
Crow Sting had a good.
We are going to do a Crow episode. Jesse, I'll talk to you about that later. We are going to do a Crow episode.
You'll probably have to get you'll probably have to get another co-host for that episode.
Like I said, I will talk to you later. I have a thought, but it's going to work. Crow Sting, it was more symphonic, more what you saw when he wrestled Triple H out in San Jose. Yes. I will never call it San Jose. It's San Jose. Crow Sting was pretty solid, and it kind of sounded like a cousin to Goldberg's theme. But overall, I kind of just gloss over WCW stuff, with exception to DDP had a good kind of Smells Like Teen Spirit backwards ripoff thing for a while that he did. That was pretty good.
I'm actually a fan of the theme song he had in the WWF. I liked what they gave.
Yo, it's me. It's DDP.
Bang!
Bang!
Oh no!
What?
Cassie sent me something. I'll send it to you in a second.
Oh boy!
It's funny, but it's horrible. So I will send it to you in a minute.
Will not make air.
It will not make air.
If we're going to talk about themes that are not WWE related, which I think everybody is mostly associated with WWE themes, I would like to talk about one of my favorite non-WWE themes of all time. And it belongs to one of my favorite non-WWE wrestlers, Pentagon Jr., from his time in Lucha Underground. Thrill Switch. I remember vividly for the first time seeing him. My first time meeting him and his brother and Ray Phoenix was at AAW in Chicago, and that music hit. Go back, look it up on YouTube. Pentagon Jr. Thrill Switch from Lucha Underground. That song reminds me of The Cure.
Yes,
so much.
Okay, I do want us to circle back. Before I want us to finish with WWF themes, because there's some that we haven't talked about yet. I do want to talk about independent wrestling, because to me, the cool thing about independent wrestling is people are able to use really awesome rock songs, rap songs, whatever, that suit their character. That they're never. Oh yeah, she sent that to me, and I was like, wow, that popped me. There's certain like I said, certain wrestlers are using theme songs now that I'm like, they're great classic rock songs, and it's amazing I get to hear it at a wrestling show and hearing a crowd react. With us at New South, like Donnie Janella is using a hard rock version of Kiss from a Rose that gets an amazing reaction. He's currently teaming with Suge D. They're called Double Down, and they come out to Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. The crowd, when they get to the chorus, the crowd is 100% behind him. And that's a really cool thing, watching independent wrestling shows where the crowd is singing with the music.
You're not drinking.
If you have seen how much rum is in my cup, I had to slow down.
You're not keeping up with me.
Oh, come on. I'm still
keep up, because I am pleasantly to coin a phrase from Pink Floyd,
comfortably numb.
Have become comfortably numb. Anyways, you were saying, I want to point out off there, but
yeah,
continue.
I came across a video from a show in England, and there was a wrestler named Grado, and he had the Goldberg theme start, and then it slowly builds into Madonna's
just like a prayer.
Like a prayer.
I wanna take you there.
And watching that crowd singing the chorus,
they're into it, brother.
That's what I mean. And I have been very fortunate for a couple instances of shows that I've been on. Rich Swann coming out to Lionel Richie's All Night Long.
All night long.
The crowd reaction to that gave me goosebumps. I was standing in the ring, and he does his little pose, gets covered with streamers, and I'm helping get all the streamers out. And I just remember looking up to him. I was like, dude, that was fucking insane. I love that.
So if we're going to talk about like songs that get pops on the independent circuit, I work at Black Label and Warrior Wrestling and freelance and a lot of Chicago area promotions. When this song hits, you're about to get all the feels. And I popped that, and I'm plugging this because, ladies and gentlemen, she's back. Kylie Ray has announced she is going to defend the Warrior Wrestling Women's Championship at Warrior Wrestling on June the 5th in Chicago Heights, Illinois at Marian Catholic High School.
Cheap plug.
The Pokemon theme. Oh, yeah, very cheap plug. Well, it's very cheap because it's our show. We can plug whatever we want if we're on the show, right?
And anyway, you got to remember, I'm a Pokemon fan, so.
So I am gonna ruin the gimmick a little bit for her, because I once asked her, all right, so you come out to the Pokemon theme, your gear is Pokemon related. Who is your starting Pokemon? You know what she told me?
What?
She's not that big of a Pokemon fan.
It's all a work.
Like, no. So I'm going to answer for her. Her starting Pokemon is Charizard, because it's always better to take the road less traveled. So yeah. Charizard. Charmander. I'm sorry.
Charmander. Yeah.
Charmander.
And I've got to go back to another instance, and it's happened to me twice with the same person. One time he was announced, advertised, and the crowd still reacted. The other time he was an unadvertised, unannounced mystery opponent for Ricky Shane Page.
Yep.
Orange Cassidy coming out to Jefferson Starship's Jane. Mm-hmm. It is, to me, a certified banger, and it's such a great song. It is my ringtone. So when my phone goes off, it is playing Orange Cassidy's indie theme, and it makes me very happy.
Our boy Pockets.
Yep.
So for Kylie, I remember I was at AAW. It was her first match back. She had like fractured her collarbone over in Japan, and it was her first match back since the break. And it was in Chicago at the Logan Square Auditorium, and that opening hit, and the walls started shaking. I'm wanting to say she was wrestling Scarlett Bordeaux, and I looked at her and I said, I believe I said it earlier, I do believe you are the road team tonight. The eruption from that crowd, 400 or 500 strong, however many were in the building.
Yep.
For Kylie's first match back, because people don't understand how big Kylie Rae is in Chicago.
Yeah,
like
I believe
that is almost Pope levels.
Yeah,
in Chicago.
And see, it was the same thing in Indy with Orange Cassidy, because like the beginning of the song was like the Chicago Bulls entrance.
Yeah,
How was that
Sirius
little
by Alan Parsons Project.
Like
the old Bulls
very,
intro. Well, it
yeah,
still is, but they've bastardized it now.
yeah,
Stop Bulls.
and see, that's the thing. Like we all knew what was coming, and then the moment he walks to the curtain and you hear Jane playing, and that crowd reacted, I just looked over at Ricky Shane Page and he says, "Are you crying?" And I'm just
crying.
like, I was like, dude, this is real. This is a real reaction. This is, oh man, knowing what we're about to do, it was incredible. And I could barely hear the music, which was
that's
the music
always
was loud.
When you can't hear the music in the
I couldn't
ring,
hear the music.
You know the segment is over.
And like the music was loud. I'm not gonna lie, the music was very, very loud the whole night. But with that reaction, I couldn't hear it. All I could hear was that wall of noise from the fans. And that's what I mean. Like there are certain wrestlers on the independent circuit that you hear that music. Like you hear We Built This City. You're like,
this city.
It's like, oh man, it's Tony Deppen, man. He's getting ready to come out and shoot snot rockets on people and just absolutely hurt. Just laying people to waste.
If we're going to talk about songs we just know are associated with certain acts, I've got to give a shout out to my boys, Davey Vega and Matt Fitchett, the besties in the world.
Dude, coming out to Savage Garden.
Savage Garden's Truly Madly Deeply hits. I don't care how macho you think you are, you will find yourself. I'll be a dream, I'll be a wish, I'll be your fantasy. I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need. You will find out you know every word to that song.
Yeah, the very last match I refed before quarantine kicked in was the Ugly Ducklings versus the Besties in the World.
I love working with the Besties, man. They are good dudes, but that song, man,
I was blown away.
Rover.
That was the first time. No, that was the first time I had worked with them. Had no idea they were coming out to that, and I was just pleasantly like,
another AAW revelation for me was that watching a whole crowd go, I want to stand with you on the mountain.
And because they get the whole
bathe with you in the sea. I want to lay like this forever until the sky falls down on me. Yes. When you can get crowd participation, you have something special. You're doing it right. And so many wrestlers think that all they need is a cool theme. No, you need more than that. You need something that the audience is going to buy into, that the audience is going to latch onto, and then that they're immediately going to associate with you and you alone. And with Truly Madly Deeply, the Besties in the World have all of that. And then guess what? Ding, ding, the bell rings, and they can back it up. It's the total package.
So here's another tag team that's using a great 90s banger. Dominic Gorini and Kevin Koo coming out to Zombie.
I love Violence is Forever with a passion.
Man.
One of the greatest matches I ever had was the very first time they ever touched. It was the Workhorsemen versus Violence is Forever. They were using a different tag team name at the time at Black Label Pro Unplugged. And I had no clue what I was getting myself into. But that match is still one of my favorite matches I've ever done. It's not one of the best matches I've ever had because I was not ready for that match.
Yeah,
but it was one of the coolest matches I've ever been a part of.
I learned the very first time I reffed a Kevin Koo match. I was not ready for that level of intensity. To see just how amazing those guys are.
Well, with their tanks and their bombs and their drums and their guns in your head, in your head.
It's like I said.
They are dying.
So we would be remiss if we don't talk about Nick Gage coming out to Metallica.
Oh, so we got to circle back to the one and only time I've ever worked for GCW. It was the 2 Cup stuff. It was in Chicago. It was the night before. It was the night before All In. It was Nick Gage.
The night of the G Raver incident.
Yes, it was Nick Gage versus Effie. It's the only death match I've ever had. But that music hit, and the crowd had been hot all night, man. And you know, not to get us into a sidebar, but I had Mance Warner versus Jerry Lawler, and Jerry Lawler's in the ring, and he cut his promo, and then Mance comes out to Simple Man, and Lawler said, "I feel like I'm in a bingo hall in 1997. The way the crowd was reacting." He never said it on the microphone. It was just a conversation between him and me.
Yeah.
And this is bigger than 97. Like, it was bigger than ECW. Insane. But, you know, Nick Gage comes out, and people that have met Nick Gage when he's not getting into a match, Nick Gage is chill. Like, he's really cool. He's easy to talk to. But that music hits, it's like somebody runs a blood packet underneath a shark's nose. All of a sudden, the demeanor changes. The entire the thickness of the air changes. It's like a switch goes off, and all of a sudden you're in the danger zone when that music hits, and you see Nick Gage walking down an aisle, and everybody's pushing him and getting in his face. Oh God, it was terrifying.
Intense.
I said it to Effie, and he said it to me. We both kind of said it at the same time. I am scared shitless.
Yeah. So I've refed one Nick Gage match, and it didn't even start with music. It was Nick Iggy jumping Nick Gage because we were doing GCW versus Crux.
Oh, that's a big move.
I didn't get to have the Nick Gage entrance. So I've not done a match with Gage where the entrance is there, but I've done a Nick Gage match. But yeah, seeing how like at Beyond or anywhere else that he's ever worked, like the crowd is just fired up. Somebody say something about getting fired up. Little Tommy Rich there.
Oh, sorry. They reminded me of Steve Austin.
It's Tommy Rich. Just seeing how intense the crowd gets and how Gage gets hyped up, and you're just like, man, shit's about to go down.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same caveat, how about Effie using Goodbye Yellow Brick Road?
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
It's such like, it's not what you would think as a wrestling theme.
Macho. It's not bombastic. It's very subtle.
But then Effie makes it his own. Like, I'm very fortunate to be to call him a friend now.
Effie's a good brother.
And he did a seminar a seminar at New South, and just hearing how he would describe like how a lot of things matter about your character, and he emphasized about your theme song. Like,
it's the first impression people get of you before you step through the curtain.
It doesn't have to be the hardest or the loudest, but it has to matter.
Case in point, look at what Mankind used when he first showed up in WWE. Everybody else had an up-tempo song. Mankind went the exact opposite direction.
And here's the thing. I'm really glad you're doing that, because that's who I wanted to circle back to. I wanted to talk about Mankind. Because Stone Cold's music is great. Shawn Michaels' music is great. My number one top favorite theme song is Mankind's Wreck. That is my number one theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that car wreck, because that's what his career was at that point.
Now
he was doing things no one else was doing on mainstream television at that point.
I'll give the caveat that I did enjoy the remix version when he was the commissioner, how they changed it up a little bit. I thought it was cool. But for me, my money, number one theme song that gets me excited is hearing Mankind's theme. That is my theme
song. It's just
the car crash,
hydroplaning car going, and it rolls over.
And
because it was a euphemism for his career. He was a car wreck on the show.
The best one, the best shot is like right after that, they cut to him at Hell in a Cell and he's smiling with the tooth hanging
Uh-huh.
out.
Which we'll talk about Hell in a Cell 98 at some point. For sure.
I would love to talk about that one. That is,
we'll go back and we'll watch that and we'll do it. But
actually, you know what? I feel like we should do an episode where we talk about car crash matches in the WWE that like they have this legacy behind them.
There's that. There's obviously going to be TLC from WrestleMania 17.
Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle.
Shane and Kurt.
That one.
I'll tell you what. I liked the match at Royal Rumble, except obviously everybody's going to shit on the finish. The match with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. I thought that was a great match.
The way up to the finish. It was an incredible match.
Then, things happen. Nobody is immune to shit happening in the finish that you just can't control. But that's life. That's life. That's what all the people say.
Mankind, for my money, just hearing that theme
song. The first
song,
Hell in a Cell was a car wreck too.
Yeah. But just hearing that theme song, I would get so excited as a kid, knowing I'm getting ready to see Mankind come out.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that mandible claw, baby. Terrified. Mankind terrified me as a kid because I was such a big Undertaker fan, which I cannot wait to start diving into the Undertaker here later in the episode because Undertaker's theme, man. But anyway, Mankind terrified me because he was the one thing that just scared me almost as much as the Undertaker.
I will tell you another Foley theme that I love is Bang Bang. Cactus Jack.
Dude, you know what? We do have to give a special nod to Dude Love. I just think because the character wasn't used as much as Cactus Jack and Mankind, that it doesn't get the love it should. But the Dude Love theme does deserve mention in this.
But we also got to talk about how great it was, the 1999 Royal Rumble.
The three faces.
We get the three faces of Foley.
Genius.
Absolutely genius.
I love that meme where the yuppie's talking to the girl who clearly does not give a shit, and he's just talking about the night that Mick Foley did the three faces of Foley and how it was really artistically brilliant. Just the three faces of Foley is,
and you know who could technically get away with something like that today is Sue Young.
Yeah,
she's the undead bride. She's Susie and she's Susan. She's got three characters. I feel like there needs to be a point with Impact
Abyss
where they
do that. Abyss did do that.
Yep, he did.
Shout out to Abyss, man. Like, I love working with Abyss. He's the first person to give me a chair shot, by the way. Was Abyss. My first promotion, Fire Pro Wrestling. It was a spot in a match and took a tabletop chair shot. And he took care of me. Like, he made it look good. He made it look good, but I lived to tell the tale.
Brother me softly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I feel like we need to kind of shoehorn this in. I have no clue how we're going to talk into it, but it needs to be talked about because it is a cult classic. It's a cult favorite. It deserves its own recognition. The theme from The Brood.
I was wondering when we were going to get back to it. I meant to bring it up.
I have no problem.
This has been a topic of discussion in many locker rooms and many times with my wrestling friends of like, how good was the Brood's theme song?
And no, this will not come into play because I have no clue how to play that theme.
No.
And you're talking to a guy that sat next to Gangrel on a two-hour car ride just by himself. I have no clue how they put that theme together. No clue.
The
wah-wah pedal is all I can tell you is that thing did overtime work.
God. To this day, you can play that theme song and it holds up of just being absolutely awesome. This was
the entrance was great.
Because I think this discussion happened at one of these GCW shows where everybody was throwing around theme songs. And I want to say it may have been AJ Gray was like, The Brood. How's nobody said The Brood? And we're all like, God damn it. You're right. The Brood had...
That is like the limits of what a guitar can do. It's just the way it's wailing.
And it just, and then you have the image
in there too.
Oh yeah, and you have the image of them coming out of the stage with a ring of fire around them. It was just the
Which
presentation.
Gangrel has said there's no oxygen at that point. That's why his eyes were so big, because he was asphyxiating.
Yeah, it just yeah. And like I said, I feel like we're missing a bunch of like.
Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry. Don't worry.
No, so I want to shoehorn a couple quick theme songs that I think are absolutely awesome that don't get a lot of credit. Big Boss Man when he was
Bum, 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 bum.
when he was the enforcer for the corporation.
Bum, 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 bum,
That
bum,
one
bum,
was
bum,
awesome.
bum, bum, bum,
Hardcore
bum.
Holly, the How Do You Like Me Now theme
How do
song.
you like me now?
That one was
Great guy,
awesome.
by the way. I like Bob.
Al Snow with Head.
What does everybody want?
That's it. You know,
Techno.
you hear those theme songs and you're like, oh man, that'd be awesome.
You know what? I am actually going to quickly shoehorn in a favorite of mine from way back in the day. From this did not get like any type of internet or national fame, but the way it was done. Lights Out, Spotlight, Silverchair's Israel's Son plays. And it starts with a bass line, and you've got the spotlight going, and like it'll have a quick break back, bum, 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 you know, and the spotlight keeps going.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. You know, go back and listen to Israel's Son. Picture it with a large room with the lights out and a spotlight going, and then flashing lights on the breakdown. It was amazing. Shout out to my buddy, which I'm hoping to have on here soon, Flawless Dave Allen. One of the only people I know that have ever defeated both COVID and cancer simultaneously. I'm hoping to get him on here soon. But he had a great theme, Israel's Son by Silverchair. Go check that out if you've not heard it yet. But I had to throw that out there because it's such a cool entrance. But I love the Bushwhackers theme too. If we're going to talk about things we're trying to shoot on.
I've been very fortunate to ref a couple of Luke's matches and going around to where he makes you do it, and it's, you know,
bro, it'd be an honor to do the Bushwhacker thing with him.
It's a nostalgia pop.
Yes, it is.
For me, doing one of Jerry Lawler's matches in Jackson, Tennessee, in an arena that probably had about 2,000 people, and Lawler's music hits, and that crowd is up for Lawler, and it's just like, it was Jerry Lawler versus Tommy Dreamer.
Another great brother. I love me some Tommy Dreamer. Like,
Dreamer,
I don't
Dreamer
have
was
the
a
career I
great
have without Tommy Dreamer. I'll tell the
Yeah.
story at some other point. But Tommy Dreamer doing the Alice in Chains Man in a Box is great. But continue.
And that's what he came out to. He came out to that one.
In the box.
And we're standing in the ring, and I said, "Man, how many times have you worked Lawler now?" And he's told me, he's like, "Oh, it's countless at this point." And he goes, "Dude, I still get excited when he comes through that curtain and the music's playing." He said, "Man, I'm just like, it's Jerry Lawler."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cool feeling. I mean, we're in like the Memphis crowd. We're in Jackson, Tennessee.
Yeah. Speaking of, you done be the road team.
It was the same thing. I'm like, oh, I'm glad. I looked at Tommy and said, "Man, I'm glad he's going over and not you."
I don't have the career I do without a little hand from Tommy Dreamer giving a nobody a chance to go play in his sandbox for a minute. I don't have that career without Tommy Dreamer.
See, I wish I could have done House of Hardcore. I would have liked to have done
I have not seen anything listed for House of Hardcore. I'm not sure if it's dead or on hiatus or what.
Hiatus,
but
I think.
Man, I'll tell you what, I would consider it an honor to be brought back to House of Hardcore because I consider that my true sport. I had 5 years of just kind of training, as I call it. My career did not start until 2015, 2016 in my eyes.
When they ran Nashville, the night that they ran, I was actually booked elsewhere, or else I probably could have been on House of Hardcore. So, you know, maybe it'll work itself out. But little quick circle back. I'm trying to think what other wrestling themes can we really talk about? I mean,
Actually, you know what? Since we're talking about House of Hardcore, I will talk about my show in Cleveland at the Odeon in Cleveland for House of Hardcore. My very first match for them. It was John Silver of Dark Order fame versus the Neon Ninja Facade, and he came out to a song from one of my favorite movies. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Go Ninja, go Ninja,
Yep.
go, go, go. He comes out and he's got the Go Ninja theme. He's spray painting shit. Man, I fell in love with Facade right away.
Facade is
I love me
cool
from some
dude.
Facade, man. Shout out to Facade.
I've been in a locker room several times with him. I've not actually worked his match, so I one day I would love to.
I had him brought in to Warrior, and it just felt that I couldn't work his match, and I was so mad because I was a champion for bringing him in all those years later, just on that one experience. I swear to God, I will work another Facade match. I promise you, I will. But I was so mad I couldn't do his match because just things fell that I needed to be elsewhere on the card. But we brought him out to Chicago, and nobody had really seen him, and he comes out to Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go, and over like Rover, man. I was like, yep.
That's what I mean. Like it could be the first time you're like in a new company, new territory. If you have the right theme song, you're gonna get the crowd. You're gonna get the crowd like behind you. And that's something I tell wrestlers nowadays is like, put a lot of thought in your character, but you got to put some
thought in. Hey, I'm drunk and you're the one stumbling over words.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out.
I'm not drunk. I'm tipsy.
Oh no, I'm drunk.
Yeah. I could do it like the Dusty Rhodes. No,
you could do it like Mike Tyson. It's an amazing experience.
I tell them to
Amanda, I'm gonna kick your ass next time we see each other in the ring.
I told him put emphasis on your character, but put time and energy in figuring out your theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't just play some cool hard rock song. Like, no, pick something. Pick something that means.
Way back in the day, my very first match I had, I was doing a gimmick called the Cat Burglar. Actually, I was Cat Burglar. My name was Cat, last name Burglar. But I had like a black, for lack of a better term, like a Ninja Turtles mask. Yeah, I look
kind of like Repo Man.
All black with the Repo Man mask with the Solid Snake bandana thing. I came out to a techno remix of the Pink Panther, and my entrance was I would crawl through Gorilla, and I'd start army crawling underneath people's seats, and I'd start stealing shit and bring it to the ring. And obviously I would lose, and the babyface would redistribute the wealth.
See, now that's a cool ass gimmick.
Which I cannot take credit for. Another friend of the show we're going to have on at some point, Jason Pachin, my trainer, he came up with that, and literally the entire entrance just happened as I went out. I just created it on the fly, and it worked. And I told my, just redistribute the wealth. Everything I take, just give it back.
Yeah. There is a faction in East Tennessee. I've not got to work with them. I've worked with some of the people individually, and they come out to Queen's Princes of the Universe.
Okay, so I have to, at that point, give a shout out to Mike Marvel and one of my very bestest friends in the world, Tristan Hayes, because they also came out to Princes of the Universe. They were the Princes of the Universe. They actually had a match where they had the space-time continuum wand where they did Shazam! And everything froze. And they did a spot where heel team had babyface 1 in a chokeslam position. So Shazam, he takes babyface 1, or babyface 2 takes babyface 1, replaces it with babyface 2 into the chokeslam position, and babyface 1 chokeslams babyface 2 once time continues.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. I'm a huge proponent of people using Queen as entrance music, because Queen's like one of my favorite bands.
Here we are, we're the princes of the universe.
And I had this discussion with somebody. I'm like, I really want somebody to start using Princes of the Universe as something, because when people use Queen songs, they want to use like your atypical, what everybody knows.
We will rock you.
Doug Gilbert comes out to "We Will Rock You." That's very
Flash.
basic.
Ah!
See, that would be good. I would like
Flash
somebody
would
to
be
come out.
good.
Well, no, I would like somebody to come out to "The Hero" from
Mm.
Flash, because that to me is one of Queen's underrated like riffs of all time. But yeah, I'd come out to something. There's this God, it's like a running thing with older wrestlers on the independent circuit coming out to AC/DC, like the same 4 AC/DC songs. It
And you know
happens.
I'm not a huge AC/DC guy.
I'm an AC/DC fan, but not for like the top overplayed songs. There's a
I
lot
like
of B-list
TNT.
overused.
That was my favorite AC/DC
Yeah,
song. But overall, I can't stand like everybody goes to AC/DC.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, oh, play me out to Back in Black or something. Like, it's like, there's this back catalog of all these amazing songs that are a lot cooler. Pick something from that. Like, here comes the guitar.
I'm just listening.
Okay. It's like you have this option to pick a cool theme song, and you go with the most generic thing possible. And I get it, it might fit your character, but I just want people to put more thought into their music. Something that if it's a tag team, something that kind of works with the tag team. If you're an individual, like, it works with your character. Don't just like, oh, just play out some cool hard rock song for me, I'll make it work. Like, put some thought into it.
Hmm?
That's
Yeah, and I agree. Like if it thematically, if it does not fit the team, don't use it. If you're a badass team, don't come out to. I'll throw it out there. The Truly Madly Deeply song. Like that's not for a team that's gonna win a lot of bar fights. Not that I don't think that Vega and Fidget couldn't win a bar fight, but I'm just saying, like their theme isn't that they're this alpha male monster thing. They're not. They're just best friends. Don't come out, But if you're going to do like a Stone Cold and Triple H type of team, or you're on a power trip, you're not going to come out to like a boy band theme, right?
yeah.
Same deal.
And like I said, don't be like I said, if you're gonna pick an AC/DC song, pick something that's not the 4 that everybody use. There's a back catalog. Dig through, find something.
I had a friend. We did a tag team match with the Freebirds, Buddy Roberts Jr. and Tristan Hayes. We came out to Stranglehold by Ted Nugent, and it worked because I always loved. Kenny Courageous had a partner named Devon Fury. They were the new breed, and that was their theme song. So I loved it. Small time, never nationally big, but it worked for them. They had matching gear. They both kind of had the black top with the long pink tights, kind of all of Bret Hart. But yeah, just a simple theme. It's got a little bit of energy to it, but it doesn't necessarily overstay its welcome.
Yeah. Like I said, there's such if you're on the independents, there's such a variety of things to use for theme songs. Just don't pigeonhole yourself to like the same generic thing. Be creative. Like with WWE, you kind of in AEW, like you have some input as to like what you want, but ultimately you have to work with what they give you. Like you have the option to make your character, and I music really can make a character and break a character. That's the breakdown to this whole episode is the music can make a character.
And I don't think anybody encapsulates that more than the Phenom himself, Mark
Yes.
Calloway, aka The Undertaker, who I will put as the biggest reason I fell in love with wrestling is because I bought The Undertaker, as outlandish and absurd as the character could possibly be. The Chopin-esque ripoff funeral dirge march that is The Undertaker's theme is to this day one of the most recognizable and greatest theme songs that has ever been created. And I don't think words could really encapsulate what it means, what that theme means. But to me, I'll try. It's regal, it's majestic, it's mournful, but it's also imposing, all in one. Like, I've always viewed the Undertaker as almost godlike. Like if this is Mortal Kombat, they built him to the level of Shang Tsung. Like, you might beat him, but you'll never kill him. Whereas you might kill other people, you can't kill the Undertaker, and that's what the Undertaker is. He's the Rancor in Return of the Jedi. He's the monster you feed everybody to. Shout out to Teddy Long. One-on-one with the Undertaker, player. You know.
But oh, like, God, greatest running joke of all time. That yeah. We're gonna have a tag team match with the Undertaker.
Be you two bad guys versus you, random good guy, and the Undertaker.
It's like, you need to get a storyline across. Undertaker. Need to fill some time. Undertaker. Need a dude to bury some dude. For real? Undertaker.
You know, it doesn't matter. But my point is, I don't think that anybody has ever truly mastered the art of the entrance meaning something.
Yes.
And then the match meaning something. And then the way you leave meaning something.
You know,
and nobody has that better than the Undertaker. From raise the lights to
that's an interesting caveat, because if you really think about it, like, once your wrestler wins, their music's playing and they have their celebration, it's very, celebrate with the title and walk out. Undertaker is the only person who really had an exit entrance.
Mankind had it early on, but he, no offense to Mick Foley, he never capitalized on it the way the Undertaker did.
No, like, Undertaker wins the match, you're getting another, like, theatrical.
You're almost getting another entrance. You're
you're
getting an outro. It's very operatic.
And it's just such a beautiful thing. I was able to see Taker's entrance at WrestleMania in Atlanta, where he came out to Johnny Cash.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
It was a really cool thing to see live. And the coolest thing was, I'm in the top of the Georgia Dome, where it's like sweltering hot. Taker comes out, that building got ice cold.
Mm-hmm.
Freakishly cold.
I swear to you, they pumped that in. There's no other way, because I've sat through that exact same entrance. I've been very fortunate. I got the very last time I enjoyed that entrance, because I'll talk to you about it in a second, but it started and ended with the Undertaker. But the last time I saw him live and in person was the Rosemont Horizon. It was dark match. I'm wanting to say it was Randy Orton and Batista versus John Cena and the Undertaker. But I saw him as world champion. This is right before No Way Out, where Shawn cost him the belt to set up the title feud at 26. But I'm knee high to a grasshopper. It's up at Valparaiso University. We're sitting on like the bowl level. Like, we're first level. We're up on the rise though, and I can see into the entrance curtain. And I see the Undertaker, and he's going over the match with whoever his opponent was. I don't remember who he wrestled, but I vividly remember it was the Undertaker there. And that was how, at like 4 years old, kayfabe was broken for me.
but I was one of the exceptions to the rule where it didn't matter. I went like, hey, how did they do that? You know, like
Yep.
I wanted to learn how to do the trick myself instead of like, you get the asshole.
Would you like to know more?
Oh, well, it's not real, right? They're just actors. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I'm pretty certain that most of the guys on top, David Boreanaz, I hate to break it to you, but he's not really a member of the SEAL team. I don't know what to tell you. He wasn't a member of the SEAL team, and he wasn't really a vampire either. But we still had fun with that,
Yeah.
So
I don't
know what you're trying to say.
That's another story for another time.
But my point is, like, the Undertaker theme, for as low key as it is, but operatic, I feel like a lot of good wrestling shares a lot in common in thematics with opera.
So how about Triple? I cannot remember the name of the classical piece, but Triple H used when he was the it was, I know, I can hear it in my,
it's like a Beethoven movement.
It was a Beethoven thing, and he comes out as the Greenwich Blue Blood, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and he's got that regal music, and it worked. Speaking of regal, I want to do a little.
He's a man.
You got it.
Such a man. I'm sorry, Rosie. I woke her up. Dude, she did an Undertaker sit-up. Are you freaking serious right now?
I was always a big fan of William Regal's music. I just thought
very evil, very imperialistic. It was it matched what he was.
Yes, and of course he went through many iterations of his theme song. There was a couple there, like 2001, 2002, where it wasn't like the cheery, uppity British music. It was, you had the horns, and it was like da 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 da, like the Commissioner theme, where he was like really pompous. Like, I love that theme, and it set the tone for the character.
If you ever want to know what it means to be a professional wrestler, watch William Regal.
William Regal, man.
You want to learn? Watch William Regal.
Oh man, I cannot say more good things about watching Regal stuff. I do love the fact
I fear a time where I have to portray my wares in front of William Regal, because I don't think I'll ever be good enough to be worthy of being in front of a William Regal.
I same here. But there was a fun little WWE Superstars where Daniel Bryan was wrestling William Regal, and Regal's coming to the ring, and then halfway
in
through
England, mind you,
they start playing Real Man's Man as a rib.
He's a man.
And you could see, I think Mike Chioda was the referee, and Brian's in the ring. They're both losing it, because it's like, well,
Well, this thing has come off the rails, and we haven't even had a drink yet.
Yep. But again, it's just one of those things, like, it's it's another theme song we didn't touch on, that is when you go back. We haven't touched on Triple H.
But we have to talk about Motorhead and their touch on.
We got to talk about Rock. We got to talk about Hunter.
Oh, well, The Rock, it's the same thing, just touched up every single time, but the baseline is
how
Johnson
quickly
came out of the Nation of Domination.
How quickly did the mood change when you hear "If You Smell" and the crowd loses
but the
it?
Rock is
cooking. That theme
I remember
resonates with me.
Okay, so I'm going to set a scene for you. It's 2010, 2011. I'm still in the Army. A buddy of mine. We are streaming illegally, I admit, Raw on laptop, and it's 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, something like that. We were in New York, but they were pushing who is going to be the special guest host of WrestleMania, and the lights go out. We're thinking Undertaker, and all this, that, and the other.
Oh, finally, yeah.
The pause, that pregnant pause, and we're just both praying It's The Rock. Pause. If you smell, and he and I just grab each other and start hugging, jumping up and down. Yeah! Our freaking, sergeant or whatever runs in the room and starts yelling at us because we're being too loud. Yeah. But we don't even care. We're screaming. We're jumping up and down because out comes The Rock, man. Just that, because it's been 8-9 years since he'd been there, and we're just overjoyed because, oh my God, it's The Rock. And here he comes, and he's arching the eyebrow, and he does the, the Rock thing in the ring, in the corner, and just that theme. And again, no words outside of obviously the intro, but just ba ba bum ba ba ba. It's a very basic bass line, but it's amazing.
It reminds you of your childhood. Like you hear that theme song, you're just like, oh, you think back of 2000, 2001, where he was on top and he was
truthfully
everywhere.
You want to know where my head was? We had a lot of pretenders to the main event level. Yeah. And finally the king had returned. It's like, King Edward returning back to medieval times, and no more pretenders to the throne.
Yeah.
The baddest of badass, the Brahma Bull, the people's champion is back. We're still buying into it. We're still just fans.
Oh, I still to this day would buy into that. It was so great. But I kind of want to get back to the little thing. It's like a theme song that it's a guilty pleasure is Mark Henry's Sexual Chocolate.
Sexual
baby.
Oh, we'll give it all to you.
Yeah, and right on. That whole
very Manilow-esque. Like
Barry White.
Barry White, that's what I mean. Not Barry Manilow. Barry White. I almost wonder why they didn't shell out for that. Because I feel like if they had shelled out for Barry White,
it would have been incredible.
Because think about the WrestleMania appearance you get. Barry White playing Mark Henry to the ring as Sexual Chocolate. Oh!
So I say that with that whole thing was born out of a rib of like, oh man, that's how he is backstage. He's Sexual Chocolate, and it ended up becoming a thing. Well, then you fast forward, like he has a couple meh themes. Then you get him to the 3-6 Mafia.
Whoa, hey, somebody gonna get the ass kicked. Somebody gonna get the wig split.
Great song, by the way.
When that hits and Mark Henry walks out, like this is a dude that could legitimately ruin your day. Like the world's strongest man is getting ready to whip somebody's ass, and he's getting himself psyched up with some killer music. Again, sets the tone. Here we go. It's about to be real. And
speaking of people that just are terrifying, I've stood in front of Mark Henry, and that man is wider than a refrigerator in terms of shoulders. Just like you stand in front of him and you understand immediately just how insignificantly tiny the average human being is compared to a Mark Henry. It's you get a reality check real quickly.
So want to start putting a bow on this episode, and I want to get to probably somebody who's been blessed with some of the coolest theme songs in professional wrestling. We got to talk about Triple H.
You mean this the boss of NXT?
This dude got to have 3 theme songs recorded by Motorhead. I'm sorry, that is just absolutely amazing. That is awesome. I know what you're trying to do. I know it's coming. I I think once you learn how to play like drop D guitar, you want to learn how to play Triple H's theme song.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
The minute I discovered drop D, that was like the third or fourth song I learned.
So think about it. Okay, so he goes from Beethoven to he gets the DX theme. Then he gets like the really, and to me, an underrated My Time. Like I thought My Time was a great theme song. But then the version that has no lyrics, the Higher Brain Pattern, he has once he's like WWF champion and whatnot. I thought was a great theme.
So,
but then,
side
but
note,
then you hear Motorhead.
The My Time theme is actually the Motorhead theme. Like Motorhead just came in and took the chord progression from My Time and just made it their own thing. It's the same song, just done a different way. It's just a thematic, stylistic thing.
And you know, he's had Motorhead play him to the ring, I think twice, two WrestleManias,
two times, and then
obviously he gets the King,
you got
King,
the
Kings,
King of Kings,
and then Line in the Sand, which is another underrated banger.
That one to me, I remember Evolution had already been a thing, and they had their WWE production version, which was pretty cool. But the night that they debuted the Motorhead one, I remember
Evolution is a mystery.
I called my buddy and I said, dude, we got to find that on LimeWire.
No one sees.
We got to find it, man.
Makes a fool of history.
Such a good song. And that's
yesterday so long ago. It don't agree with what I know. Tomorrow got no place to be.
Such a good song, man.
I see the line in the sand. Time to find out who I am. And it, again, lyrically, it fits the group. It is talking about change and evolution and the progression of where the business was at that time. Yes, it was reminiscent of the Four Horsemen of days past, but in the same breath, it was talking about tomorrow's stars being given that moment to finally get their day in the sun. Randy Orton and Batista, who have both had amazing careers in their own right, going on to being better things. Obviously, Randy Orton's had this spot for 20 years. 20 years. Most people don't have 5. Randy's had 20. All right. So while Randy Orton may not be on the top of everybody's list of greatest wrestlers of all time, you have to respect the fact that he has found a way to make his character matter for 20 goddamn years. Give respect where respect is due. All right. Batista, same thing. Now, granted, a lot of his success is now coming off of the back of the Marvel inputs with his character Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy. But again, he had an amazing run as the Beast Batista. Or the Animal Batista. I'm sorry, the Beast. And again, a lot of it has to do with themes, right place, right time, and what the total package is. Some people have great themes, but they don't have a great character to go with the theme. And yeah, the theme is often it's given this afterthought status when really it is the first impression people get of you. Long before the baby face comes through the curtain and goes, "Come on!" Or the heel comes in and just flips the bird, does the no. The first thing they're gonna know about you is your theme.
Is the music.
Is the
so before we take this thing home, what are some quick like sleeper theme songs? Like give me 3 or 4 that we haven't brought up yet.
Owen Hart.
You think
Owen Hart's Enough is Enough.
Yes.
will always be top of my list because it fits where the character was at that point. He felt forgotten, he felt overlooked because of his brother Brett, and he felt like the audience had turned their back on him. And it's said in lyrics, "You turned your back on me and I snapped." And right as that,
Yep.
it's what he was doing.
Yep.
I would probably say I'd have to go with probably, oh God, there's too many to name. I don't know which one I would go with. There's so many that I'm like, which is the one that above all else? D'Lo Brown had a good one.
I will say D'Lo had a good one. One that I'm thinking of is Latino Heat.
Okay, so I give you that one, but I lie, I cheat, I steal. What?
Into the Lie, Cheat, and Steal.
Which is still one of the greatest gimmicks of all time.
I think Eddie Guerrero had two absolutely fantastic theme songs. They could either be, and the other thing is, they could be a babyface theme or they could be a heel theme.
And it works. Matter. It works for both ways. Somebody asked me once what my dream match is, and I said it can't happen because one of them's gone. But Eddie Guerrero versus, actually both of them are gone. Eddie Guerrero versus Macho Man Randy Savage for the Intercontinental title. Because think of the fun you could have there.
Oh God.
Eddie is a heel. Of course, he's going to go after Miss Elizabeth, which is Macho Man's trigger, or vice versa. Listen, punk, you ain't got what it takes to take on the Macho Man. You ain't got a lady like Miss Elizabeth. What you have is lack of size and lack of charisma. So makes you think you can snap into this Slim Jim. Either way works. Either Randy's the baby face or Randy's the heel. Eddie's the baby face, Eddie's the heel. But like my match that I wish I could get in their primes is Eddie versus Macho Man, because I think stylistically, sweet music could be played.
If we're talking about, if you want to do a quick sidebar with the dream matches that did actually this actually happened, but it was a dark match and it should have happened on TV, and it was Kurt Angle versus Owen Hart.
And that's what I mean. Like, give me these guys in their prime where one's clearly not going to get squashed, where they're both allowed equal creative input. Yeah. Eddie versus Owen. Owen Hart, to me, is one of the greatest performers to never have the world title. He could have been, but just never did.
Yeah.
Owen could have been a world champion.
Yeah, I agree. So quick little, we'll wrap this up with the music. You know what? We didn't talk about the Hardy Boys having a really awesome theme song. Yeah, everybody still knows the little dance. For my money, though, a theme song that just nobody talks about, but it's awesome. It's the APA. You hear that hit, and you're just like,
it sounds like something played out of the corner of some seedy bar anywhere in America, preferably Southern America. But
here comes Bradshaw and Farouk,
and somebody's about to have a bad night.
Yep. Just you hear those theme songs, it's like, man, I love that theme. So it's some of these songs are 20 years old and they still have the same effect on you today. Like, you hear that theme song and you're just like, oh man, I'm excited.
Hulk Hogan. I know he's a bit of a faux pas thing to say,
but the crowd gets excited when they hear Real American.
You hear Real Americans open, bam, 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 bam. It's going to draw an emotion out of you. I think WWE put it best when John Cena was facing his trials and tribulations. Boo, yay. Whether Hogan or not, as long as you get a reaction, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That opening chord progression got a reaction.
I've got to send you a clip from a thing that I used to do with a convention called Geek Slam. And we had characters and stuff like this. And one of the people that was hosting did a mashup character called the Incredible Hulk Hogan, and he came out to Real American. And dude, the reaction from a convention crowd that are not wrestling fans, it was a wrestling pop. It was just pure awesome. It was just an amazing experience, and it just shows like sometimes these theme songs can transcend sports entertainment into real world, into sports and into real life. So yeah, I mean, we've got to give it to Hogan for having probably the OG
Yeah, I think
killer theme song.
it starts and ends with Hulk Hogan having a theme song. And Real American didn't come until later. The first real theme song that really got national recognition has to be tagged to Hulk Hogan. It's when he faced Iron Sheik. He came out to Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
And I think that was really the genesis of the thought process that the theme does matter more than we
same
think
thing with Junkyard Dog coming out to Another One Bites the Dust.
Boom, 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 ba-dum, boom, boom,
so
ba-dum,
you know,
boom, boom.
the whole idea of wrestlers coming out to theme songs, was it Michael Hayes that came up with that originally?
I don't know, but I feel upset that we didn't talk about Bed Street, Atlanta, GA. The baddest street in the whole USA.
There may be some people that would be mad at us for not. Some people mad at us not talking about spend my days working hard on the
I
go.
don't know. I don't feel like we draw from that same crowd. Yes, it's a big song, but I feel like it didn't get big until another podcast started doing it every week.
But you got to admit though,
it was kind of a thing, but it got bigger in the late 2000s.
Here's the thing.
Another podcast did it.
When it comes down
shout out to Conrad though. He was fun to ride in a car with.
I hope to maybe see him tomorrow at New South when we're in Huntsville. But honestly, I want to do a quick thing. Jeff Jarrett, when he was tag teaming with Owen Hart, the theme song that they had. Yeah, I love that theme song. It
sounded kind of like the Walker Texas Ranger theme.
It did, but I thought it was pretty cool. That's another one of those like little sleeper songs that nobody thinks about that I love that song. So yeah, I think we could probably talk for another 2 or 3 hours about this.
Nation of domination.
And again, that deserves recognition because it would evolve into the Rock's theme. There is no Rock theme without nation of domination. We are the nation.
Just again, an incredible group of talent that got put together and made something work.
Godfather had a banger too. Like that open.
That's
just that right there.
I know we're overlooking some of like the best theme songs, like sleeper songs, but neither one of us is in a sober state of mind. But yeah, I think this might be a good.
I'm a Waltman mark, man. I hope someday I get to book with him. Like,
same here.
I am a Sean Waltman, X-Pac 123 kid, whatever you want to call him. I liked him. I've always liked him because he was, again, sidebar, different from everything else on the show around them.
Yep.
There's a theme there.
Well, he was.
How do you stand out?
He was known as the measuring stick. Like, can they go out and have a good match with Waltman?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Jericho wrote in his book, like, they'd put him out there with guys they were looking at. And if Waltman came back and gave the thumbs up, they'd give him a second or even a contract. If it was, well.
Yep. So I think this is a good stepping off point.
So what you're saying is it's time for the catchphrases.
It's time for the I think we've been going 2 hours and
have we really?
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Wow. So I think this is the part where I say, hey Jesse, do you have any parting words for us?
Most certainly. Now, do not add to the population. Do not subtract from the population. Please do not be the reason why we have a safety briefing on Monday.
But dude, I'm not even thinking about Monday at this point. I'm barely
Me
thinking
neither.
about tonight, although go Ramblers. So with that being said, this is the crew of Pop Goes the Zebra, wishing you all a good night and have a pleasant evening. Good night.